And friends, just as a final gentle reminder, if you have a cell phone, please do take a moment to turn it off. And as we begin our services here this afternoon, there will be a presentation by the members of the United States Army.
Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey from childhood to maturity and youth to age, from innocence to awareness and ignorance to knowing, from foolishness to discretion, and then perhaps to wisdom, from weakness or strength to weakness, and often back again, from health to sickness, and back we pray to health again, from offense to forgiveness, from loneliness to love, from joy to gratitude, from pain to compassion, from fear to faith, from defeat to defeat to defeat, until looking backward or ahead, we see that victory lies not at some high place along the way, but in having made the journey, stage by stage, a sacred pilgrimage. Birth is a beginning, and death a destination, and life is a journey, a sacred pilgrimage to life everlasting. These words, which were penned by Rabbi Alvin Fine, really express the Jewish philosophy of life and of death, and they tell us that we come here in grief, in profound grief. But we also come here as much as we can with a measure of gratefulness. Grateful that God blessed the world with the life of Gil Levy. Our Jewish funeral service is fairly simple, consists of some readings, some psalms, some reflections, and concludes with the Kaddish prayer. We'll continue now with the words of the 23rd Psalm. We'll recite them together in English, and then Cantor O'Brien will chant them for us in the Hebrew. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
Adonai roi lo echsar mihinod sheyarbitzeni alemei menuchod Yanach aleini nafshi yeshovev Yohancheni b'magelei tzedek Yonecheni b'magelei tzedek למען שמו. גם כי ילך מגץ על מוות, לא ירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת בשמן ראשי כוסי רבעי. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, כל ימי חיי. ושבתי מבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני ראוי לא אחסר, אדוני ראוי לא אחסר.
At the rising of the sun and in its going down, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and in the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember Gil Levy, for he is now a part of us as we remember him. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. As long as we live, Gil too shall live, for he is now a part of us as we remember him. Now I'd like to invite up several speakers. Begin with son-in-law Patrick, followed by granddaughters, and then sons, Bill and Ed.
Gil, being the father of 3 sons, you weren't necessarily expecting to have a son-in-law. Here I am. Also, you weren't expecting to have a son-in-law who was a former Catholic altar boy, and in addition, an international expert on disability advocacy. I scared you, but we found our way. When I met you, you were 81, and you seemed decades younger to me. Very vibrant, full of life, wonderful. And also, you were Jewish. Something that I discovered pretty quickly about Jewish people is they were more progressive in their thinking about diversity than many Catholic counterparts that I know. I think it's because you suffered, you overcame, and you like to eat. Gil, we found our way with one another, and there were so many things that connected us. The first one is, as a professor at my university, I would run into you at the university in the halls, and you were part of the lifelong learning program. And you had just presented yourself for a group of people, and what was really wonderful is I got to see some of your PowerPoints, and they were better than many university professors. Also, you were a foodie. You're the only person I know that could eat the whole apple pancake at the original Pancake House. And when we were in so many restaurants, you would order the most unhealthy thing on the menu and still be vibrant and healthy And you went on and on and on. You have some lessons that you taught me, most definitely. Also, you were a music man. Your vinyl collection was commendable. And we had some great music talks because I'm a music man also. In addition, I want to thank you for your great voice, which you gave to your sons and also my son Dan as well. It's easy to live with great voices, by the way. And also, Gil, thank you for giving me Bill. Bill is the love of my life and my soulmate. And everybody, yesterday we celebrated 16 years together. For gay years, that's a golden anniversary. Also, I want to thank you, Bill, for giving me my family, Dan and Becca. Dan and Donna, it was an honor to officiate your wedding last year. And Becca, it was an honor to walk you down the aisle with Bill at yours and Bennett's wedding. Thank you for that. I want to also thank everybody that's here. So many of you are family. You've enhanced and added to my life. And also there are so many friends that I'm thankful for. Marliss, thank you for loving Gil the way you did. And I know he loved you back the same way. I really appreciate what you brought to his life. Thank you so much for that. And Roz, I never met you in this physical earth. However, you connect with us. The way that you communicate with us is flashing lights. And on our stairway last night, there was a vibrant flashing light where other lights were on the circuit, but it's the only one that was going off. Gil, you told me many times that you loved me. That was really great progress. And I look forward to seeing you in the next realm. Thank you, Gil.
When I think of our Zayde, I think of a tree. Strong, constant, providing for others, and stubborn too. Always wanting to do things his way, but never rigid or cold or hard. His feet always firmly planted on the ground, his head held high, but there was a quality to him like branches gently swaying, noticing, listening. He was fiercely independent, yet deeply rooted in relationship with family and friends. This idea of him and trees goes beyond metaphorical qualities he possessed and shared with us. Our Zayde loved to take walks in the botanic gardens, even as recently as just a few years ago. I can picture him now, immersed in the beauty of the trees. The final tree I'll share about is his passion, perhaps obsession, with our family tree. Anyone who went to our Zayde and Marliss's home knows how he meticulously worked at Ancestry.com to connect the dots of generations before. Each time I came over, he would proudly show me what new information, photos, names, dates, stories, and connections he found. This June, on Zayde's birthday, Stacy and I asked him how it felt to be 97. His response was simple: I wake up every day grateful to be alive. We were in awe. 6 years ago, on his 91st birthday, I asked him how it felt to turn 91. Again, his answer was simple. With a huge smile on his face, he looked me in the eye and said, same as it felt to turn 19. Then he drank 3 beers, just like a 19-year-old. This is our Zayde, so full of gratitude, humor, and a love of life and family that was palpable every time we were in the same room. In his memory, those qualities will live on in us here today. I will miss my Zayde every day. I already miss him. And I am grateful too, just like he taught me to be. And genuinely happy to have known him for so long. In recent years, I've taken to walking more and more outside, and when I can, in any garden I find. Now, when I walk in the gardens and look at the trees, their strength, care, and shimmering leaves smiling down on me, I'll think of him and his love and his smile. I'll know he's there.
Could you read it? Might not sound the same coming from him.
I love my Zayde. We had a very special bond, and he was always there. He took great pride in his family. He was one of the most intelligent people I've ever known, and definitely the only person I know that would read the encyclopedia for fun, let alone for bathroom entertainment. When I was little, I remember visiting him at the furniture store where he proudly introduced me and, dare I say, trusted me to run among the Zenith TVs. When I was around 9, he took me to an elder hostel for a weekend away in Southern Illinois with his sister May and my cousin Rachel. I loved everything about that weekend and being there with him. When I was the only one who caught a fish, he was so proud of me, and he told everyone he was there. For my 18th birthday, he had me custom design my own necklace using Bubby's engagement ring. It is one of my most cherished pieces of jewelry. I'm wearing it today, and he was there. Dancing and twirling at my wedding with my then 92-year-old grandfather was such a beautiful, special moment for us both, and we couldn't stop smiling. He was there. When I ran in the Chicago Half Marathon with an early start of 7 a.m., he was there. As a kid, I remember he had a watch that connected to his computer long before most people even had computers, and definitely before iWatches were cool. That's the thing about Zayde. He loved tech gadgets, and he was always ahead of the curve. We were often silly together, taking photos with goofy filters. While I know those Snapchat photos were drastically different than the photos he used to take on his Nikon, they were still photos, and he had a passion for photography. He was there. I loved making Zayde laugh, and man, his laugh was deep and contagious. On his 90th birthday, I gave him a card that read,
Holy shit, you're old.
and he nearly fell out of his chair laughing. Watching that video makes me laugh every time. He was there. When my daughter Elaina was born, his first and only great-grandchild, he beamed with pride. Whenever they would FaceTime together, he'd always drop everything to get on that call, and he'd light up and radiate joy. In 2021, flying was still a health risk, so my family and I drove from Maryland to Chicago just to make sure Zayde got the chance to meet his great-granddaughter. When they finally got to meet in person, even with wearing masks, it was a truly beautiful moment. He was there. Family was so important to him that in recent years he worked diligently to research the generations of our family tree. He always gave generously and made sure we were taken care of. He taught me that there is nothing more special than family. As I grew older, our bond strengthened, and I'm so lucky and grateful that we had almost 40 years together. The family won't be the same without him. He held us all together. I think we almost took it for granted that he'd live forever because he had such a strong presence. He survived so much, and he was always there. He'll forever have a lasting impact on me, and I'll miss him. Now, he'll always be there in my heart.
I love you forever, Zayde. Thank you.
It is a rare and exceptional gift to have lived 42 years with a grandparent. As a child, I remember my Zayde's dry sense of humor, his quick wit, his cackle of a laugh, and his love of learning and reading. As a kid, I thought it was hilarious that he'd read encyclopedias while in the bathroom. I remember laughing, who even reads encyclopedias like a book? But now as an adult, I've come to appreciate his quest for knowledge as one of the many extraordinary things about him. My Zayde lived with wonder and curiosity, motivated by a desire to understand things, people, history, and the world. He saw remarkable innovation in his lifetime and embraced it all with a sense of openness and delight. His technological skills, Facebook profile, and Apple gadgets were more like a millennial than a man born in the 1920s. I believe that this was what kept his mind so shockingly sharp until the very end, still recounting stories from his youth with explicit detail and precision at 97 years old. It was just 15 days ago that we were watching Jeopardy together and he got the final Jeopardy answer correct. I cannot even remember what the question was, but I'm quite sure that if he was here, he would know. His mind was magnificent as a result of being a lifelong learner. In these recent years, I've had the privilege of spending a lot more time with my Zayde, listening to his anecdotes about his summer fishing trips in Canada, his work as a docent at the Field Museum, his travels and adventures across the globe, his time in the Army during World War II, his sweet courtship with my bubby, finding love again with Marliss, and some very funny stories about my father and my uncles. I've also been given the blessing of witnessing how lovingly he embraced Mitchel and Beck, treating them like his own. The common thread through his storytelling and the legacy that he leaves behind was that my Zayde was a man of integrity, humility, and honor, with rock-solid values of being of service, living simply, not taking more than he needed, having a steadfast devotion to family, and living each day in gratitude. When he was asked what his secret was to being in such good health well into his 90s, he always replied the same thing. I never thought I would live this long, and every day I am grateful. Being with my Zayde this past week gave me a gift that I will forever carry in my heart, the knowing that my Zayde chose to transition out of this world the same way that he chose to live his life, courageous, humble, and brave.
Gary, you want to join us? Yes, I would. Okay, why don't you leave this stuff with me? Laurie. Here you go. Did you want to speak first?
Yes.
Okay, come on up to the microphone.
It's nice to be here, and I hate to see my dad go in heaven, and I'm going to remember him, and I'm going to miss him, and I love him so much. I did nice things for him, worked in the fast furniture store, vacuumed the carpet, checked the furnace and stuff.
Perfect. Stay with us. Can you stay here?
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing turnout. Thank you. 97 years. Wow. And I had the privilege and honor to spend 63 of those years with you. Our dad and Zayde lived a full, rich life. He found true love with our mom, Roslyn. Zikrona livracha. May her memory continue to be a blessing. He and Mom created a warm, loving, close family. I am fortunate to have two wonderful brothers, the best sister, terrific nieces with terrific families. Dad grew up with two siblings. As a result of those relationships, particularly the strength of his bond with his sister, our Aunt May, we enjoy close, loving relationships with our cousins and their families. Dad was also very close with Mom's parents, Maury and Bee Bass. They're right here. They're right there. And Mom's twin sister, Selma, and her husband, Howard. Dad and Mom's relationship with Mom's side of the family helped foster our very special relationship with our cousin Lynn and her husband Carmen and their kids and grandkids. After Mom died in 1997, Dad found love again. He found love with Marliss, and together they created this wonderful blended family. Where is everybody? This amazing, amazing blended extended family we are so blessed with. Off script, someone told me that when you lose a spouse and your relationship was particularly special and strong, that you're going to look for it again. And he did, and Marliss did, and I remember David. And they found each other. When I think about our dad, I think about family and I think about relationships. These are his legacy. We are his legacy, not just we Levys and Levins and Schaeffers. I want to highlight a few of my childhood memories of our dad. He worked long hours, but he also played hard. I remember playing in the snow. His patience teaching me to ride a bike. Parking by the Adler Planetarium and eating a picnic lunch off the back of our station wagon while we watched planes take off and land at Meigs Field. One particular trip to Brookfield Zoo with Aunt May and Uncle Ken and their kids. I was really young, but that one stands out. A trip to Washington, D.C., a road trip with Aunt May and Uncle Ken and the kids. Gary made reference to this. Driving to Roslyn, to the furniture store on a cold winter morning, a Sunday morning, to stoke the furnace with coal. This was a long time ago. A trip to Los Angeles in 1972 for the bar mitzvah of his high school buddy, the son of his high school buddy, Shap. Our trip to Israel in 1974, my first trip of many to a place I love. And we pause and pray for peace. And we think about all the people we know right now who are in Washington, D.C., right now, as we speak, on the mall, standing up for all of us. Several short trips to Milwaukee to visit his cousin Goldie and their family, and trips to Detroit to visit his cousin Helen and their family. Holidays with the Simon family on Cornell and in Skokie and then in Hyde Park. Countless dinners with the Weisbergs, impromptu, planned, first on Essex, later in Olympia Fields. I especially remember his absolute joy at the birth of each and every one of his grandchildren. Where are you all? And his joy later at their B'nai Mitzvot. And finally, traveling to D.C. with Dad and Marliss for Caryn's wedding. Lots of great memories. Dad, you taught us by example the importance of family and the importance of relationships. I carry that with me, and I do my best to teach that to my children, Dan and Becca. Zichrono livracha. May your memory be a blessing forever.
Again, thank you all for being here. Yesterday morning, Laurie and I went to Stacy and Mitchel's house, and we looked at old photographs that Bill had gotten from my dad and put on a thumb drive. These pictures, the result of my dad's passion for photography, I believe that Becca spoke about, date back to the 1940s and allowed me to look at life not only through my dad's camera lens, but also through his own eyes and the way he saw our family. These photos were more than just portraits. He captured milestones and celebrations, but also candid moments of us laughing, playing and just being together. On this drive were pictures of my dad's father, Albert, and his mother, Ethel, who died in 1948 and whom I was named after. There were pictures of my dad's wedding to my mom, Roz, of my mom's mother and father, Nana and Papa, of my Aunt Selma, who's my mom's twin sister, and Uncle Howard, both of whom my dad remained extremely close with until they each passed away in the 1990s. There were pictures of there were pictures of his sister May and her husband Ken, or Clark Kent as Gary used to call him, of his brother Ralph and his wife Sandy, and all of their kids, lots of cousins. Bill mentioned them. And there were so many pictures of Gary and Bill, pictures of my girls Stacy and Caryn when they were babies. And that's as far as we have gotten with some of the pictures. But these pictures did get me thinking about childhood memories with my father, and in particularly, what was really important to him. I remember the four of us, this was before Bill was born, having a picnic dinner on Sunday night or eating Ritz crackers with peanut butter and jelly, sitting on a blanket in the living room floor. The blanket there most likely because my mother didn't want crumbs on the carpet. Hanukkah and Christmas dinners at Selma and Howard's Essex Street house, where Howard and my dad would fill a playpen, likely for Bill, in the living room with presents. The sheer joy for both of them was evident when they would take turns pulling out a present, reading a name out loud, and then they would throw the present to one of us. Thanksgiving dinners always at my dad's house, when Oscar the turkey went in the oven at 6 a.m. And a driving trip to California, not the one that Bill mentioned, another one, but I was 12 and Bill was almost 3, in a rented Chevy Caprice. This trip included relatives in Bakersfield, and LA, and being my dad, he researched this trip without the benefit of AAA or Google Maps and had it totally planned out. I also think this is when he taught me the meaning of the phrase, "Stop teasing Bill." I could go on. I just said I learned the meaning. I never said I listened to it. I could go on, but just as Curly said in the movie City Slickers, life is about just one thing. And to my dad, that one thing was family. He worked hard to support his family, and when not working, as Bill said, he played just as hard. Not only with family, but with friends. He spent countless hours researching our family history through Ancestry. Again, that left a mark on more than just me. He and I golfed with Uncle Howard and his son Fred on Sunday mornings, and in the late summer, we would sneak through the trees at one end of the course, pick tomatoes, and eat them right off the vines. Until 1977, he worked for Papa, my grandfather, and his father-in-law, something that was anything but easy. But any disagreement between them was left at the furniture store. Even after my mom died in 1997, my dad maintained a long-lasting relationship with both of my grandparents, a true testament to family through my dad's eyes. When I first brought Laurie home, 1973? Yes, excuse me.
Here's the big introduction.
Both my mom and dad opened their hearts to her. My dad knew Laurie for some 50 years and thought of her not as a daughter, but thought of her not as a daughter-in-law, but as a daughter. I often joked with my dad that he thought I was the son-in-law. Sorry, Patrick, I came first. This life lesson that I have learned from my dad taught me to extend my love and allow me to open my heart to both Joe and Mitchel. You see, to my dad, family was the most important thing. He just loved his family. I can still feel his love for my 2 children, his first 2 grandchildren, Stacy and Caryn. But as often was the case, men of his generation were stoic and did not express feelings well, if at all. In this regard, my dad was no different. However, as he grew older, he softened, maybe in part due to the effect of his love for his 4 grandchildren, 3 of whom you've already seen here today, and later in life from his one and only great-granddaughter, Elaina. Or perhaps to a second chapter in his life with his marriage to Marliss, the benefit of which was my dad added another beautiful family whom he loved very much. We will never know why he was able to change. We just know that he did. Whatever the reason was, he knew how to love, and then he learned how to express that love. That is a beautiful thing to witness, and an even better thing to receive. In the days before his passing, he was surrounded by family. I am thankful that I made it home from Florida on Friday night to be at my dad's bedside to say goodbye. Bill and I were on each side of my dad, holding his hands. Stacy and Mitchel were at the foot of the bed, and we told stories about our family, recalled wonderful and funny memories, and we laughed and cried. We know that he heard us. He passed within the hour after we left, and I know in my heart that Dad's final moments were filled with what he valued most, the love of family. So, Dad, you set a standard for that love of family. What you have given to me and to all of us is irreplaceable. I will miss your heart and your soul. I will miss your friendship, but I will carry your love with me for as long as I shall live. Dad, thank you from all of us. May the name Gilbert Levy always be remembered as a blessing.
So much has been said from the heart. And I'll simply add a wonderful Jewish story. It's a debate, really. And it takes place in the Talmud. And the rabbis are discussing what the most wonderful quality of a human being is. And one rabbi says a good eye. That's the best thing to have because you can see into the future. They say that's good. That's good. Another says a good neighbor, which means you live in a nice neighborhood, you have friends. That's a good thing. You say, yes, that's a good answer too. Another says a good time, which means you live in a good era. You live in a positive time to be alive. So that's a good answer. And then the greatest rabbi of them all, Rabbi Akiva, says a good heart, because a good heart encompasses everything that is most important. And as we just learned so eloquently, Gil Levy had an extraordinary heart. A heart for his family. A heart really for everyone. I mean, as little as I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, he was still commenting on certain things I would post on Facebook with a heart and with a great job. Really, what a heart. What a heart. And in Jewish tradition, the way we honor a loved one, the way we remember them, is by saying the words, Zichrono livracha, may his memory be a blessing. These words convey the purpose of a well-lived life. That those who know you, those who come after you, those who remember you, look to your life as a blessing, a benediction, and an inspiration. Being a blessing means that you have touched the lives of those you knew and that you have helped them do the same for others. For Marliss, for Ed and Laurie, for Gary, for Bill and Patrick, for Mike and Adrienne, for Susan and Julie and Dan, for his many grandchildren and great-granddaughter, for all those whose lives he touched in 97 years and who touched his. Zecher Tzadik Livracha. May the memory of Gil Levy endure among us as an everlasting blessing. God, you give us loved ones, and you make them the strength of our life and the light of our eyes. They depart and leave us bereft on a lonely way, but you are the living fountain from which our healing flows. To you, the stricken look for comfort and the sorrow-laden for consolation. God, we see life as through windows that open on eternity. We see that love endures and the soul endures, as you, O God, endure forever. We see that the years are more than grass that withers, more than flowers that fade. They weave a timeless pattern in a world that is a dwelling place of your love and your eternal presence. I invite you now, if you're comfortably able, to please rise as Cantor chants El Malei Rachamim for us.
El Malei Rachamim Shochen Mameromim Amitzei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanefei HaShechina Im Keroshim Uteorim Kezoar Arakia Masyerim Et Nishmot Shaloch Leolamo Balarachamim Yostirehu B'Seitar Ganafom Leolamim V'yitzror b'yitzror ha'chayim nishmato Adonai hu nachalato V'yanuach b'shalom amishkavo V'nomar Amen.
We'll continue now with the words of the Kaddish. Even though the Kaddish is a prayer of mourning, it doesn't talk about death, it only talks about life and about glorifying God. And I think the message of that is that in Jewish tradition, the way we honor a loved one, the way we remember them, is by looking for the most wonderful qualities of their life and seeking to integrate them into our own. And after we say the Kaddish, Cantor O'Brien will chant the last verse of the Kaddish, Oseh Shalom. Yitgadal
v'yitkadash shemei Rabba v'yalama divarach v'yirutei v'yomit malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala uv'izman kari v'yimeru amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach le'olam ulamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha barichut le'ela mikol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiram be'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehei shalom arab amin shumaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav, Oseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael,
Amen. May God, the source of peace, send peace to all of us who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, and let us all say, Amen.
Oseh shalom b'imramav, Yoseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
You may be seated as we wait a few moments while the casket is lowered and the cover placed on. And then, as soon as the cover is placed on, I invite you to engage in the sacred ritual mitzvah of shoveling earth. It's considered among the most sacred acts we can do because unlike many things we do in life, because we get something out of it, when we shovel earth, it's an act that we do purely out of love, out of our heart. I have some earth from the land of Israel. It's an ancient custom to sprinkle such earth into the grave of a loved one because it is said to speed the passage of one's soul to the world to come.
Friends, just as a reminder, the family will be together for Shiva at the Brookdale and Northbrook at 4501 Concord Lane. And they'll be on the fifth floor. So there's a little change or a little update from what we may have printed. But once you go in, the staff there will be able to assist you, but probably going to be on the 5th floor. And that'll be today from 5:30 until 9 p.m. and tomorrow, Wednesday, from 6 until 9 p.m. The family has also requested any memorial contributions in Gil's memory to either Makom Solel Lakeside, Temple Beth Israel, or Temple Beth El. All of that information is available in the service folder that you should have received when you came to the graveside today. If not, we do have extra service folders for you this afternoon. And for those of you joining us online, all of that information is also available on our website. You don't have to wait until 5:30. You can come whenever you like. They're going to go back. They'll welcome you. You know, once everybody makes their way out of there, then you're welcome to join the family and provide some comfort and support and share memories. Thank you.
forward, and that will conclude our service. You may return to your cars. The tradition is 3 shovelfuls. I'll help you.
Please get by the rock, right? Thank you. There you go. I'll help you. I've been shoveling for years. I do love the bell hats.
Yeah, nice looking.
Great.
Very active. Have a good trip back. Yeah, I don't do that. That doesn't pay to be true. Yeah, was that it? Yeah. It's the same thing.
Let's let it sit.
You have the electric bike.
I'm not mad about it. Yeah, this is the point. You're making profit fall.